Life was honestly getting okay. The summer was almost here, the girls were looking fine, I'm stronger than ever at the gym, and my pea head was growing by the day. I was feeling pretty good about myself. And all of that is thanks to limiting a certain person from my life. We've all got that one person which just messes stuff up for you. Could be a goon family member, could be an ex-girlfriend, could even be yourself as your own worst enemy. But for me, it was Slapnuts, Jeff Jarrett. As the years have gone by, he still pops up in my videos, but on the whole I don't have to talk about him quite as much. I can almost ignore him and pretend he doesn't exist. Ring of the Hawk is usually my sanctuary away from him because he would never qualify for the show. He was in WCW for years, WWF for years, and TNA for years. Ring of the Hawk is of course the show where we watch back a wrestler's short run with a company, 30 or less matches, and at the end we shove them a final grade to see if they could do the JOB to the HAWK. I was researching for an upcoming video, then this happened. 28 matches. Jeff Jarrett qualifies for Ring of the Hawk. Right, that's it, the summer is officially cancelled. Well, this is a first, Jeff Jarrett on Ring of the Hawk. These matches are all for AAA Mexico between 2004 and 2019. TNA often had working agreements with the company, which allowed their biggest star, who is of course Jeff Jarrett, to go and draw a dime in Mexico. So this is like a whole new lesson in Slapnuts history, as I have no idea what he got up to south of the border. These matches weren't the easiest to find and the quality varies, but stick with it until the end as it does improve a lot. Shame the wrestling doesn't. Alright, it's Mexican Slappy. Will he make me dump in my nappy? Match 1, Latin Lover versus Jeff Jarrett, who jumps his opponent on the ramp. Someone is loudly screaming stop in Spanish over and over again. I'm not sure if the match has officially started, but Jarrett is already beating his opponent around the ring with a chair. This is peak Slapnuts. Double J apparently isn't happy with the original chair, grabs another and hits Latin Lover in his back. It's just a prolonged beating with Lover not able to land a single punch. After 4 minutes they arrive in the ring. Jarrett does the strut to loud boos. He tries to get the pass out win with the crowd rallying behind their Latin Lover. It works as Lover makes it to his feet and hits Jeff with an enziguri. Slapnuts no-sells it. Lover hits a powerbomb which Slappy can't no-sell. He climbs to the top rope but he misses his splash. Jarrett attacks the Lover's friend / lover on the outside, but this guy fights back too. Sorry, this is probably some really famous luchador legend, but there's no commentary and the video quality sucks. Jarrett comes back to the ring with Latin Lover getting a couple of 2 counts. A kick to the back of Slapnuts' head gets him a third 2 count in a minute. He starts sucking in the crowd as he climbs to the top rope, when randomly, the monster Abyss appears on the ramp. He press slams the manager into the crowd and climbs into the ring. The referee is floored. Latin Lover dives onto Abyss but he's caught and hit with a shock treatment backbreaker. The ref just wakes up and counts, but it's just a 2. No idea why it wasn't a DQ. Jarrett does a powerbomb, which I can't remember seeing him ever do in his career for a 2 count. The ref is distracted by nothing and Abyss is back. He accidentally smacks out Jeff Jarrett. Latin Lover and his lover get rid of Abyss and they both dive on him out of the ring. Meanwhile in the ring, Lover almost wins with a Mahistra Cradle when Abyss pulls the ref out the ring. Still no DQ. Jarrett hits the kick to the nutsack special and the stroke. Uno, dos, tres. It's over. Wow, complete madness. This was just like his TNA matches except the interference was even more blatant. The crowd hated him, but the match was incredibly stupid. It's a D. Match 2, 6-way elimination match. Abysmo Negro versus Chessman versus LA Parker versus Jeff Jarrett versus Conad versus Latin Lover. Yeah, I know, it looks like bird turd, so I'll keep it brief or you'll knock out my teeth. It's all a waste of time because for a rarity in his career, Jeff Jarrett is DQ'd for being a dick. It's an S. Match 3, 2 out of 3 full 6-man tag. Charlie Manson. Yeah, great main eventer here. He teams with El Zorro, who seems to be either a pirate or a pimp, and Abysmo Negro versus Vampiro, Slapnuts, who's introduced as the best in the world by the way, and their partner is La Parka, who thinks he's Michael Jackson from Thriller. He throws something in Jarrett's face. Not sure what this team have in common. People were already pelting stuff at Jarrett before the match has even started. Over and over again, the announcer calls Jarrett the best wrestler in the world. I bet his ego was loving this. Okay, that's weird. I've just realised the competitors came out in a random order and I got the teams wrong. After a very long time, the best wrestler in the world finally joins the match against Vampiro. He treats us to the Fargo strut. Jarrett must be exhausted from all his hard work in this one and rests on the top rope. Now he starts doing Hulk Hogan impressions. Finally, the fight starts. He outsmarts Vampiro and hits a back suplex. Jarrett takes a cheap shot on Parker, causing the match to break down. Slappy randomly gets annoyed and grabs a chair. Everybody smacks each other with chairs like morons. It goes along like this for a very long time. Jarrett grabs a mic and starts screaming something in Spanish, which causes him to get pelted with more trash. I've no idea what the rules are, but Vampiro ends up being triple teamed with Jarrett hitting him with a kendo stick over and over. The match also features a run-in from the mini Mascarita, because this is TNA. Actually it's not, but it sure feels like it. This run-in turns the tables and it's now Jarrett being triple teamed. Vampiro throws his face to the mat. I think Vampiro gets the first pin on Slapnuts, but the camera misses whatever happened to him. There doesn't seem to be any more falls, but it was called a 2 out of 3 falls match. Maybe I'm the fool. This match was like a day off for Slapnuts. He barely did a thing, he just pissed people off. He certainly didn't live up to his moniker of the greatest wrestler in the world. It's a D because he annoyed the crowd. Well, it turns out he did more than annoy the crowd. The crowd was so upset they pelted Jarrett with trash and bolts and nuts, and Jarrett had to be escorted away from the building by police. Although I didn't actually see any of that take place. Match 4, 6-man tag. Abyss, who enters to Born and Raised in the USA, is so unfitting. Slapnuts, who enters to some generic music. I don't think I've ever seen Slapnuts look so scruffy and out of it. Oh no, here comes a promo. He says he's sick of Mexicans who are all scruffy, poor and drunks. Their other partner is Conad. This group is known as La Legion Extranjera, which is basically whenever Conad would bring foreign talents to Mexico. They faced a team of Octagon, Gronda, who has drawn on muscles, and La Parka. The entrances last forever. Jarrett doesn't start, but that's probably a good thing because Abyss connects for chokeslam in the first 10 seconds. It's not over though. Jarrett is on the outside, brawling with La Parka and threatening audience members. After a very long time, Jarrett is in the ring, hitting a suplex on La Parka. The cameramen have no idea what to focus on. La Parka comes back with 10 slow motion punches in the corner. A bunch of people run out, including Samoan Joe and Low Key. I have no idea what's going on here. 20 people are brawling around the ring. So much crap, so much chaos. Jarrett has just stood in the ring watching all of it. So far, every match in AAA is like a day off for Slapnuts. La Parka atomic drops him a couple of times. Jarrett smacks him in the slash zone and does the strut. Double J tries to figure 4 and La Parka swishes it into a pin, and wow, that's the 3, it's over just like that. What a terrible match, some of the most basic stuff I've ever seen. I'm not used to seeing Slapnuts lose so easily, it's an S. So 5 years passed before Jarrett's next AAA match as he focused on being in TNA. But in 2011, things changed for Slapnuts. After losing the feud with Perk Angle in TNA, Jarrett was forced to move to Mexico after Kurt beat him in a parking lot brawl, forcing Jarrett to say adios. Match 5, Triple Mania 19, AAA Mega title. The challenger for the belt is a wild Slapnuts and his bitch wife Karen. He takes on the champion, El Zorro. I was relieved to finally see a singles match because Jarrett's done the sum total of nothing so far. Both guys slap each other. Jarrett arm drags Zorro and there's the strut. He does another arm drag and another strut. He's having a good time out there. He even collects a kiss from Karen. That fires Zorro up, who dishes out his own arm drags, which clears Slappy from the ring. His strut isn't as good as Jarrett's. Jeff throws a strop and starts acting like he's leaving. Of course, it's all a trick, so Jarrett can brawl with him on the outside, just like he always does. Jarrett hits slow motion slaps and chops. More brawling on the outside. Fans are chucking things at him, but no idea what they are. He gets Zorro back in the ring and squashes him against the ropes. Jarrett sweeps his opponent's leg out and applies the figure 4 leg lock. After a very long time, Zorro fights out of it. He's about to hit Slapnuts with a little stick, but can't manage it as Jarrett grabs his eyelash and back suplexes him. When they get up, he starts smacking Jarrett with the stick. Jarrett gets desperate, so his wife distracts the ref and Jeff Jarrett whacks Zorro in the face with his title belt. No, just a 2. Someone tell me, why did the ref need to be distracted? Or whatever. Jarrett is furious and grabs a steel chair. Again, Karen takes the ref. The ref stops being distracted and has a tug of war with Jarrett. Now Karen hands Jeff Jarrett powder. It backfires and Zorro kicks the powder into his face. Classic. Zorro rolls up Jeff, but again, no, just a 2. Randomly, Jeff puts on an ankle lock, presumably a shot at his feud with Kurt Angle. Jarrett's isn't as good and Zorro escapes and puts on his own ankle lock. Karen is pulled into the ring to break the hold. Oh no, she takes the ref and Jarrett smacks Zorro with his guitar. Whoa, what? Zorro kicks out? This guy can't be beat. For the 50th time, Karen is on the ring apron again. The ref falls for it as usual as Jarrett uses the kendo stick and connects with the stroke. This time Zorro can't kick out and it's over. Jarrett is the new AAA Mega Champion. One of the most horribly overbooked Slapnuts matches of all time. He nearly hit all of his moves of doom, but there was no ref bump. He did win a belt though, which is the top in the promotion. I always bump up a grade on Ring of the Hawk for a belt win, it's a D. Slappy would of course keep returning to TNA with the AAA Mega title, which would be renamed the Mexican Heavyweight title. The Immortal storyline sort of ran in AAA as well, but it was really just Abyss and Jarrett with Konad. Match 6, AAA Mega title triple threat. The challengers are LA Park and Dr. Wagner versus the champion, Slappy. Jarrett makes out of his wife whilst the other two fight. He eventually joins them. Of course, it's going to be a fight on the outside of the ring, because it always is. Jarrett and Park seem to be working together. Karen climbs into the ring and slaps Wagner, so it's basically a 3-on-1. It just goes on like this forever. Karen, Jarrett hits officially the worst chair shots I've ever seen. She also sits in the chair and slaps him. This means she's officially done more in this match than her bitch husband. Dr. Wagner makes his comeback, but he's seemingly more interested in getting his hands on Karen Jarrett. I just can't tell if this match is supposed to be serious. Jarrett and LA Park finally have a fallout as they argue over who is going to get the pin, but then they make up and do a strut together. It's just non-stop comedy in this high-profile title match. Jarrett holds Wagner on the apron as Karen boots him in the ribs time and time again. She's like the main character in AAA. The crowd seems to be really enjoying it, despite everything. It all goes wrong when Park throws Wagner, who switches into a dropkick on Jarrett. This is such bad in-ring action, I wasn't expecting this from AAA. Jarrett returns after a bit and hits an Inzaguri. He puts Wagner in a Boston Crab, but LA Park kicks Jarrett away. They have a long argument before finally coming to blows. Jarrett tries to dive on Wagner, but he's caught and chokeslammed. Just a 2 count. For God's sake, Karen's back with that bloody chair again. She hands it to LA Park, who stares at it, desperately trying to decide what to do. Much to my disappointment, he doesn't hit Karen with it and he throws it down. Karen boots Wagner in his nutsack as Jarrett sneaks up and does the stroke to Dr. Wagner whilst Park just stares on. It's elimination rules apparently, so the match continues. LA Park hits the final cut on Slappy. Karen attacks him. Smack her, Park! For the love of God, smack her! No, El Zorro runs out and hits LA Park with a guitar for the free. It's over. Jesus Christ, these are the slappiest of Slapnuts matches. Karen was unbearable in TNA, but this is taking it to a different level. It's an S. Why is he always surrounded by a faction wherever he goes? Match 7, Royal Rumble match. Jarrett enters third last in this 8-man Royal Rumble. Of course, he has his wife with him. Jarrett is working with LA Park again. Who would have known these two would have turned out to be such good friends? Jarrett spends half the match hugging him. Magnus is also here and he's in Jarrett's group. I'm having Rinka King flashbacks. Miraculously, Jarrett ends up in the final 3 with Park and Electroshock. He just stands around cheerleading whilst Park beats up the Electric Man. Jarrett eventually boots him in the nutsack and assists with a powerbomb. Jarrett's dancing around like a moron when completely out of nowhere LA Park throws him out. Pretty funny and nice to see the tables being turned on old Slappy for a change. All that being said, he did literally nothing in this match, it's an S. Jarrett and his bitch wife cost Park the match, so I guess that's gonna teach him. Match 8, tag match. I hate how they stagger the heel and face team's entrances. It's the Juice, Juventud Guerrero and La Parka versus Chessman and Slapnuts. Karen is causing trouble and the ref has to separate the competitors on the outside. Just get rid of her, ref, you know what she's gonna do. There's the proof, within a minute she slaps Guerrero. Karen almost falls out of her dress as the Juice knocks her away and she dumps in her thong with anger, smacking him one. Jarrett hits a suplex on La Parka and claps with happiness. The happiness continues as Slappy and Chessman do a double strut. Randomly, Jeff thinks he can do a poetry in motion on Guerrero, who wakes up and steals the spot and smashes him away. Jarrett is clotheslined out the ring and Guerrero topes him. Konad is here. Karen and Konad beat up Guerrero. Jeff is forced into the ring and La Parka DDTs him. Moments later, Jeff DDTs him back for a 2. Poor Guerrero and Chessman, they're just desperately trying to have a good match in there. After a while, Slapnuts is back, but he must be drunk or something because he falls over running the ropes. His sunset flip doesn't work. He dodges a kick, but he's locked in an armbar before Karen drags Juve away by his haircut. This distracts the referee, who's unable to see Jarrett smacking the Juice with his guitar. Thus the 3. Jarrett celebrates as he's pelted with trash. Jarrett has some tacos, which he starts throwing back at them. Jesus Christ, he licks one and shoves it down Juve's throat. A masked man runs Jarrett off and forces Karen to wear a cloak and hands her a broom. This is because in AAA she was seen as a witch. More like a bitch. I guess the whole thing was entertaining, but the match itself was appalling, again. You have to remind yourself, these are matches at the top of the card. It's a D because of Jarrett's heel work, but his ring work is extremely limited. Match 9, AAA Mega Title, the challenger El Messias versus the champion Jeff Jarrett. I swear I've never seen this guy looking so small and skinny. Jarrett destroys him for ages like a skinny luchador. Of course, standard Karen Jarrett cheating helps him. She takes interference to a whole new level, climbing onto Macias and choking him out from behind. Jeff isn't the only one with a friend though. Jarrett smashes the friend away with a guitar and launches him out the ring like a piece of trash. Macias comes back with clothesline to dropkicks. Why are all these matches so basic? Slapnuts hits the stroke, which the ref slow counts, so it's just a 2. Now Jarrett wants a chair from the crowd, who don't let him have it. He does eventually get it and a tug of war starts, leading to a ref bump. Macias drives Jarrett's face into the chair, and he tries to finish him with a dive, which is stopped by Karen, and Jeff is able to whack him with the chair. Still no ref. Another guitar is in the ring now. No, LaParca stops him and plants Jeff with a DDT. The ref is still down, with both wrestlers crawling towards the guitar. Another tug of war, which Macias wins, and he makes Slappy taste his own guitar. El Macias dies with a splash, and that, my little friends, is the 3. These matches, man, they're peak Slapnuts. At least he lost. Just not good. He had great matches with Kurt around this time in TNA. He was capable. It's an S. Now, if you're confused by all these matches so far, it's about to get a whole lot more gut scratching. Match 10, Triple Mania 20 tag match. Hair versus hair? Jeff Jarrett, who is still doing his taco throwing gimmick, but that's far from the strangest thing in this matchup. Because in 2012 Mexico, he's teaming up with Perk Angle. Wow. They take on Electroshock at LA Park. Angle starts and only tags Jarrett because he's dropkicked into him. Jarrett hits slow motion punches on Electroshock until a spinning heel kick. Slappy dumps in his nappy of fear and tries to hide behind Karen. LA Park gets him back in the ring. Angle actually comes to Jarrett's aid here, so I guess they're not tag team partners who don't get on. After a Karen Jarrett bitch fit, Slapnuts is back in the match with Electroshock. He hits a suplex and the strut. So much interference and bullshit. The kick to the slash zone ticks off the 4 moves of doom for Wild Slapnuts. The Monster Abyss waddles down to the ring. He attacks LA Park because we haven't had enough interference in this match. LA Park takes him out and so other managers climb into the ring to fight. I feel like I've barely mentioned Jeff in this match. Well, he does try a dive, which unfortunately is a ref bump. Park has Slapnuts rolled up, but no ref. Abyss returns and hits a chokeslam in front of the now recovered referee, who doesn't care. What a mess. Electroshock randomly beats Kurt Angle with a cutter. Wow, this match sucks on Isaki's ass. This loss doesn't mean that Jarrett has to shave off his Cabbage Patch curls. Instead, it's one of the management figures. So we can't even enjoy Jarrett's pain and suffering. It's an S, I'd hope for better. Match 11. What? There's literally a gorilla walking down the ramp. Silver King teams up with M2000 and Slapnuts and his tacos to take on El Zorro, LA Park and Dr. Wagner Jr. It's the same match we've already seen 10 times. Loads of interference, loads of chair shots, and Jarrett strutting around the front like he owns the place. El Zorro decks Jarrett with a cane. The good guys have Karen Jarrett in a triple team situation. They're about to cane her when Jarrett makes the save. This is the problem with Karen as a main character. She gets great heat, but it never leads to anything because she never takes any sort of bump. Nothing she does will lead to any match. LA Park starts feeding her a taco when Slapnuts attacks with a chair. That's how the match ends. The ref raises Karen's hand in victory. It's an S, these matches are the drizzling turds. Match 12, Triple Mania 21, 6-man tag. Monster Pain. Matt Boring. No, not him. And of course Slapnuts. He can barely make it to the ring as trash is pelted at the Taco Man. They take on the Psycho Circus, who presumably are like the Mexican ICP. Killer Clown, Psycho Clown and Murder Clown. For this one, Jarrett can barely be bothered to be involved with the match. He eventually gets backbreaking and clotheslined from the ring. He's more interested in kissing his wife and throwing tacos at the crowd. The Fat Clown hits Jarrett with a body press slam, which is the biggest move Jarrett's taken in this entire run. The Clowns are actually quite a fun team, but not much seems to involve Jarrett. Morgan chokeslams one of them and 15 seconds later Jarrett makes the cover for the 3. Jarrett's team are bad winners and remove the Clowns' masks. It's an S. Match 13, 8-man tag, La Parca Negra, Psychosis, Daga and good old Slapnuts. Karen is gone, but the tacos remain. They take on El Macias, Pero, Cybernetico and La Parca. I'm dumbfounded that he's still in the main event at this point. All he does is stand around and occasionally hit people with a chair. I spoke too soon. Karen is in this match and she takes a bump in this one too. And would you know it, it's from Slapnuts himself who accidentally boots her in the ass. Jarrett gets speared and splashed as El Macias beats him. This may be the worst run of matches on Ring of the Hawk history. I've never seen somebody half-ass it so much as this. Match 14 is yet another wacky 8-man tag. Jarrett has a sombrero this week, so that's something new. At least he feels like a big star in this environment. Jarrett's involvement in this match is so strange at this point. He barely does a thing, and when he does it looks awkward and unplanned. Jarrett hits one of the clowns with a guitar in front of the ref. Then the other clown breaks up the pin and he seems confused about this. The clowns win the Canadian Destroyer, a waste of time, it's an S. Match 15 is yet another 8-man tag. Jack Evans is on Jarrett's team this time, so perhaps that's something slightly interesting. Apart from that, it's the same old faces doing the same old tired stuff. Jarrett's team win thanks to a moron falling through a door. He did nothing again. Match 16, wow, a 6-man tag. Sure, this will make all the difference. I looked ahead wondering if this was all we had left, but no, there's actually another singles run in here, so I guess we just got to hang on in there. Talking of match 16, I can't find the ending, but I guess it sucked, it's an S. So match 17 will be the final one of this pointless run. Another 6-man tag, Electroshock, Mystesis, whatever it is your guesses, and the Psycho Clown, and they take on Jeff Jarrett, who's really embracing this Carney shtick. It's truly Slapnuts in his element. He teams with Tejano Jr. and Averno. Well, it's the exact same as all the other matches. Karen looks like more of a threat than Jarrett and can only do anything when he's got a steel chair in his hands. A rare highlight is Jarrett suplexing Electroshock on the outside, but he goes straight back to using his steel chair. The good guys have the last laugh though, because Electroshock hits a cutter in the ring. The clown belts him and they smack him with steel chairs. Jarrett kicks his own manager and he's left alone with Electroshock. They do some basic brawling. Jarrett calls for Karen to hand him a weapon, but he doesn't realise Electroshock has slid the guitar. Electroshock knocks him out with the guitar for the free. Somehow it's getting more and more unbearable. Fortunately, Jeff now takes a 3-year break as he returns to TNA and tries to force Global Force Wrestling to work and merge with TNA. But here's a factoid for you, it didn't work. Despite that, Jeff does find the time to squeeze in a match for AAA in 2017, and boy is this a bad one. Match 18, Triple Mania 25, Torneo Royal Rumble match. Halfway through the match, Jarrett stumbles down the steps. He looks rather scruffy and unkempt. He's more interested in throwing tortillas at the fans. He's really getting into it with the crowd. One of them completely nails him in the head. He does finally make it into the ring and kicks Park in the nutsack. Everything is just so slow and bad looking. La Parka does a simple DDT and Jarrett is pinned just with that. Reports after this were saying that Jeff Jarrett was intoxicated for this match. Well, I get it, I felt like joining him. It's all you've got when you're watching this absolute turd show. It's a deserved S. Jarrett does fortunately start cleaning up his act and has a proper run with AAA starting in 2018. But in typical Slapnuts fashion, this all starts with him revealing that he's leading a faction called Mad. Presumably they named it because that's how the fans felt to see this happen for the 50th time. Match 19, AAA Mega Title Triple Threat. Jeff Jarrett versus Rey Mysterio versus the champion Dr. Wagner Jr. Jarrett bails straight away and tells the other two to fight. They don't agree with that and instead they team up to batter Jeff around ringside. Jarrett is placed on a table and Rey is thrown on top of him. Wow, I can't believe Jarrett went through a table in this run. I know it isn't much, but it's all you've got to work with in this miserable pile of crap. Jarrett is up moments later, sliding Rey out of the ring like a seal in shit. Rey returns and gives him the head scissors onto the ropes and the 619. He can't finish Jarrett off though as Wagner returns. Then there's a ref bump. A new ref returns, which is La Parka. Out of the blue, Jarrett boots Wagner in the nutsack and the ref fast counts the pin. La Parka unmasks, and it's actually Konad, who's also a leader of this new mad faction with Jarrett. So Slapnuts is now a 2-time AAA Mega Champion. The match sucks, but I'm forced to bump up his grade due to Ring of the Hawk rules. It's a D. Match 20, Tag Match. Jeff Jarrett tags up with Phantasma to take on Psycho Clown and Pagano. Phantasma uses a chair without Jarrett being even involved. Seems he's picking up some bad habits from hanging around with old Slapnuts. Jarrett is sent into a chair in the corner before Phantasma saves him with a different chair. Pagano is thrown at Jarrett to take him out. It looks more like Jarrett hip-tossed him. The Luchadors both dive out the ring. Jarrett heads out into the crowd, which we haven't actually really seen from him in this video, because every Jeff Jarrett match usually has crowd brawling. He gets drop kicked by Pagano. Juventud Guerrera tries to interfere for his Mad faction and pays for it. Pagano tries to finish Jeff with a chair moonsault, but misses that. Jarrett can't capitalise with a sunset flip as the chair is smashed into his meathead. Pagano should have Jeff beat with a backbreaker-netbreaker combination, but the ref is pulled out of the ring. Phantasma and Jarrett both hit the stroke, but they aren't interested in making a pin as they're too busy strutting around. They do eventually make the pin, but once again the ref is dragged out the ring. He tries to finish the Psycho Clown with a guitar, but can't manage that. Eventually Phantasma hits the Clown instead with the acoustic equalizer, and that's how this one ends. It felt like Jarrett was maybe slightly more involved than he had been. I didn't hate this match, it's a C. Match 21, Triple Mania 27, Mega Title, 4-way. The challengers are Rich Swann, the Machine Brian Cage, and Phoenix, and the champion is Slapped to the Nuts. Phoenix is in full control in this one. Jarrett realises that and breaks 2 guitars over Phoenix's head. The referee randomly decides to enforce a 10 count. Well, he sort of tries and then he just gives up. Jarrett hits Phoenix with a smash guitar a 3rd time, and a 4th time, and a 5th time. Strangely, that only gets Jeff a 2 count. Swann and Cage return to hit Jeff with a heart attack. That ends his involvement for a bit. Jeff wakes up after everybody has been hit with dives and he teases doing one of his own, but instead he does the strut. Jarrett almost wins this one with a figure 4, but the hold is broken up by Phoenix with a springboard senton. Jarrett gets frustrated, so he smacks the ref out of yet another guitar. This is getting silly now. He boots Phoenix in the nutsack and rolls him up. Like a dumbass. Was he expecting the ref to count the pin? You just knocked him out. Seriously. Does Jarrett have short-term memory at this point? What a moron. Anyway, Parker once again comes out to make the count as he's allowed to be a referee for some reason. He counts to 2 but stops. He unmasks and it's actually Dr. Wagner, the man who was screwed with this gimmick in the first place. Phoenix hits a cutter and Wagner gives the victory to Phoenix. Wow, short title reign for Slapnuts here. It certainly wasn't a reign of terror. I will say this, the acting and entertainment side were excellent and pretty exciting. I actually got my beat caught up in it for a moment. It's a C. Match 22. Oh no, another 6-man, but this one's no DQ? Why does it need to be no DQ? They've used weapons in literally every single match. Jarrett, Taurus and Killer Cross take a Wagner, Murder Clown and Parker. Slapnuts clearly isn't aware of the rules as he keeps hiding his weapon in his knee pad. I'm probably just being picky at this point. It's probably an extremely valuable weapon and he's keeping it there for safekeeping. Wagner being dressed as Parker just confuses the whole match for me. We've already got LA Park and Parker in this company. Do we really need someone else dressed as them? Wagner hits a Michinoku driver on Slapnuts, which was the most exciting thing for 10 matches. Cross stops the pin from happening. Moments later, Jarrett hits a kick to the nutsack. He wants to hit the stroke, but somehow they botch it and Wagner falls the wrong way. Jarrett says screw it and just does it again. That's the 3. Terrible. Match 23, tag match. Jarrett and Phantasma versus Psycho Clown and Blue Demon Jr. Psycho Clown lightly sends Jarrett out of the ring and he's sort of saved by his partner, I don't know. This is just done so the heels can interrupt a dive with double chair shots, because it's Jarrett in Mexico and he can use a chair as much as he wants. So he may as well use one from the very first 10 seconds. We've got a new split screen feature here so we don't miss a second of Jarrett brawling on the outside of the ring. At this point Jarrett is starting to look out of shape. Once again Jarrett is sent out the ring, but this time no chair shot from the luchadors as they dive on him. Jarrett returns to hit the stroke on the Clown, but times have changed and it's just a 2 count. Phantasma saves Jarrett from a submission, but they both get a diving crossbody from the Clown. Randomly, Blue Demon turns heel and kicks the Clown in the nutsack. Jarrett clubs the Clown with a guitar and it's over. Honestly, at this point, it feels like Jarrett's scared of taking a bump and he does look a bit frail. It's an S. Despite that, Jarrett is still somehow always in the main event. Match 24. Hair versus hair match. Jarrett versus Wagner. Well, at this point, he may as well go bold because it matches his aging look. Oh no, Karen's back. It's been nice not having her here. Jarrett decides his hair is too valuable, so he leaves. But that's just a trick, so Jarrett can get the advantage. Jarrett hits Wagner in the gut of a bin. Multiple people are fighting around ringside. Karen rakes Wagner's back and hands her man some brass knuckles. Every match is a weapons match. I don't think Jarrett has even tried to have a wrestling match in this entire run. Karen wriggles her milk sacks around. Jarrett beats the poor guy senseless. Everyone is getting their licks in on Dr. Wagner. After a very long time, Wagner sends Jarrett into a chair as the commentary team almost reached the point of climax. There isn't much to get excited about around here. Wagner hits Jarrett with a couple of chair shots, but of course the ref is bent. Wagner catches Jarrett's kick and dragon screws him. He slowly tries to put on a submission until Karen Jarrett tries to jump him. It just looks comical. Wagner gets his hands on her, but Karen gets her hands on something else. A nutsack. Jarrett is stopped from using his guitar. Then the guy just turns heel and smashes Wagner with the guitar. Hasn't this happened already about 3 times? Psycho Clown comes to Wagner's rescue. Wagner smacks Jarrett with a bad looking guitar shot, and that's the 3. Not a single bit of athleticism or talent went into this match. He's not even messing with the crowd anymore. So Jarrett lost the hair versus hair match, and whilst I can't find any footage of the actual shaving, I can tell you that this is not a good look for Slapnuts. I will bump up his grade for not being afraid to make himself look stupid. It's a C. Match 25, final match that I can find. It's a 6-man because why not at least be consistent? Jarrett, Cross and Phantasma take on Wagner, Psycho Clown and Drago. Jarrett is masked, so we don't get treated to see the sight of Slapnuts wrestling bold. What, does he think he's Mr. America or something? Anyway, he's basically a complete joke at this point. Wagner has him beaten with a cutter, but he's more interested in trying to expose Jarrett's bald head. All three of Jarrett's team try to do the strut together, but pay for it with drop kicks and dives. Jarrett ends up alone in the ring with Dr. Wagner, but once again, Wagner is just more interested in removing his mask. Well, I'm pleased to report that he does manage it, and we're finally treated to a skinhead Slapnuts. Jarrett is stomped on by all three men. It just feels like justice for everything I've had to put up with so far. The clown jumps Jarrett's bald head, and he's had enough and bails from the ring. Wagner chases him around the ring with a mop, and he beats him up on the stage. Jarrett is saved by a friend, and they double suplex Wagner on the entrance ramp. Whilst that's going on, Drago beats Phantasma for game over. Jarrett did make some returns to AAA, but he didn't wrestle any matches. He joined another faction. I wish he'd just go away. Well, there we go. That was a miserable couple of days for me. Nearly all the matches were the same. Jarrett didn't do anything cool. He didn't have a single good match, and he looked well past it. He was not in a good way backstage for most of this video, and I'm glad he was able to clean up his act and rock back up in the WWE not long after his last AAA match. The main praise I'll give him is how entertaining he was. He got so much happiness and joy from just messing with the fans. I don't think we see enough of these sort of antics nowadays. Maybe people are too scared to offend anybody. Despite that, I can't overlook the fact that this was a miserable run where Jarrett was booked in the main event, but Rey did anything to warrant his position. He treated Mexico as a day off. I think mainly I'm disappointed, as he would have been capable of having a good match in the first half of the video. I thought I might find a hidden gem, but no. So it was all rubbish, and he deservedly goes in the shove it zone for wasting my time and putting me in a bad mood. And if you don't agree with that, I'll show everybody a girl nude.